Hello everyone and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from CLyDeThaMonKeY. Now Clyde is a World of Warships streamer and I will include a link to his channel in the video description. Now in this battle he is in the Bismarck, a tier 8 German battleship. He is on the map Neighbors in a standard battle. It's a tier 8 battle. And there are a few destroyers around, there is no carrier, so it's looking quite nice. Now I would also like to mention at this point that I was in the World of Warships podcast yesterday, so I will include a link to the podcast as well, if you want to listen to that. Now this game is starting off quite slowly, so I think we will skip ahead just a little bit. And here we are back. Clyde just found himself in North Carolina, who is carelessly showing broadside. And what happens to ships that show broadside? They get punished. Well, at least they get punished if you are lucky enough with your dispersion. Now so far, the friendly team is mostly here on the right side and the enemy team is on the left side. Each team has lost one destroyer so far, but nothing too major has happened other than that. Now the friendly team is pretty close to the enemy cap. And they still have a destroyer here delaying the enemy push. They also have ships around to defend. So far Clyde is continuing his push right here, but of course the situation back at the cap has to be considered. And it's something that you have to keep an eye on. But so far it looks still kind of safe. Now we see some more enemies. We still aren't sure if most of them are going to attack or if they are coming around to defend now. And the Bismarck secondary open up. Something else I should mention, probably this replay is from an older version. So before the captain's skills got changed. But I think Clyde does have manual secondaries. And that North Carolina will soon get taken down. Now Clyde is showing his broadside to this Fuso, but the Fuso seems to be shooting high explosive, so yeah. And there is a cruiser who is carelessly showing broadside. And well, only over penetrations. But maybe the next salvo will be better. Nope. But somebody else hurt that guy pretty badly, and I don't think the Prince Eugen will make it out of there alive. Now the friendly team is almost at the enemy cap, and there is a decision to be made. Do they wanna try to win by capping, or do they just push towards the enemies? Capping can be problematic in a battleship, obviously, because you are spotted from so far away and ships will just continue to shoot you and will interrupt you. Now they have a Hipper here, would have the best chance at capping, but I mean, there is an argument to be made, I guess, to just fight it out. It's obviously a more fun version, and you don't know how these enemies will react if they come back and interrupt you too much. You're relying on your team to successfully hold the cap long enough. And we don't know the exact situation down here in the south. We don't know where the enemy destroyer is. It could be that the destroyer came back in order to defend the cap. It could also be that the enemy destroyer is at the friendly cap. Oh yeah, going back to defend might be the safe option at this point. Keep in mind the distance isn't that long and they should be able to arrive there in time with the defending force. And look at how many shells are flying. There are just a lot of secondary shells coming from the Bismarcks. Unfortunately, the friendly Hipper is a little bit too far at the front, I'm afraid. And it's looking like he will go down soon. Maybe he can drop back into concealment. Or not. So unfortunate, but CLyD is on his way back. Now we know that the enemy destroyer is inside the cap circle, but there is a friendly cruiser preventing him from capping any further. And that means there is an English cruiser sitting here inside a smoke screen. Now once that smoke runs out, that cruiser is in a bit of trouble. Depending on his concealment, maybe he can retreat out of there. But he has to be careful and make sure that he isn't spotted when this smoke drops, otherwise he might be in trouble. And there is a Pensacola. Pensacola is getting buffed soon with the next version. Concealment is getting better, so rejoice Pensacola players. But yes, there was a Leander inside the smoke. Now he is using his hydro here because the Leander could have dropped torps in this direction. And well, the Leander didn't time his exit right. He got caught out in the open with his smoke gone. And well, he was sitting broadside on, so Leander. Now unfortunately the friendly team lost the ship inside the cap, so the enemy well can now cap in peace. There is a destroyer there who is not spotted, and there is nobody close enough to spot him. So, oh, and well, goodbye Pensacola. So the enemy team is in a good spot. They have a destroyer that can sit in there and cap. He can smoke if somebody gets close. There is no carrier to spot him. There is no friendly destroyer to sneak in there as well. And yeah, it looks like the battleships will have to sail in there and stop the destroyer, which means they have to get dangerously close to torpedoes. Also, I mean, there is a Bismarck in there as well. Why the Bismarck isn't using the smoke, I'm not so sure, but Bismarck is kind of distracting the friendly team, I guess. No, I mean, the Bismarck should really just use the smoke that's provided by his destroyer. And he shouldn't show broadside. Now there is also a Tirpitz coming inside this smoke. Again, a Tirpitz has torpedoes, so not something you wanna get too close to. And those two battleships who have been close to the friendly cap for a long time, unfortunately haven't really sailed back into the cap. One is on the way now. It's really important that the friendly team gets a ship inside to stop the enemy team from accumulating capture points. I mean, even if they don't spot the destroyer, just them being in there can alter progress. And once they've dealt with the battleships, they can hunt down the destroyer. Now, unfortunately, CLyD's hydro is no longer running. He used it before against the Leander, and now would be a really great time to have hydro. But he can't just wait here. He has to get in there. He has to interrupt it. This is getting pretty dangerous. And the friendly Bayern is also helping out here, and well, together they should be able to interrupt this capping. But the Bismarck is finally inside that smoke screen. The Tirpitz is also entering the smoke screen. The Tirpitz is also in torpedo range, and there are a lot of torpedoes coming. Now it looks like this is a combination from the Tirpitz and the destroyer. Thankfully the friendly Bayern only took one hit, but the Tirpitz has torpedo launchers on both sides, so I'd assume there is still one launcher ready in there. Now the Bismarck is spotted again, and the Bismarck should go down soon, yes. Now the Bayern is trying to ram the Tirpitz, which might be a good idea, but the Tirpitz could still hear... Yep, he still has torpedoes on this side, which is unfortunate. But that tells us that both of those ships should have their torpedoes on reload currently, which is good news for CLyD. The bad news is there is also a Fuso quite a bit away though, but so he has to angle against the Tirpitz, and the Fuso, and he has to be aware of torpedoes from 2 sources. And if this battle goes on for longer, the torpedo tubes will reload. So he is focusing on the tier pits. I mean, the tier pits is showing him nicely broadside here. And the tier pits is almost down. Hydro is up again, by the way, so that's good news. So he has a little bit of advance warning if the Luoyang launches torpedoes. And the Luoyang deploys smoke again, but smoke is rather useless this range if there is a hydro active. So I'm not sure if the Luoyang isn't realizing it. For some reason he isn't using his guns, he's trying to back up further, but it's just no use. I mean, he can't outrun the tier pits with his reverse, and he can't get away from the hydro. And it looks like he hasn't reloaded his torpedoes in time, so on goes the Luoyang. And well, it looks like the situation is finally under control, so the friendly team basically has won this by now. They have a ship in the enemy cap circle capping, and there is only 1 Fuso remaining. Oh, the Fuso is spotted, and he is conveniently showing broadside, so friendly team is trying to sink the last enemy ship here. And CLyD got himself a high caliber, because why not? Now there is an inconveniently placed island that blocks some of his shots. It also does block a bit of return fire. And his secondaries did set a fire on the Fuso. Now he is slowing down here a bit. He's probably waiting for his repair party to come back online. He wants to heal a little bit before he is sailing around this island. Maybe he also wants to wait until the Fuso has fired his guns. Because, I mean, 1 cell who could easily take him out. Not that it does matter at this time, but why not? And well, looks like the Fuso was ready, but he is shooting high explosive. He doesn't do an awful lot, and well, pretty soon he will go down, I'm sure. Yep. Now let's take a look at the results. CLyDeThaMonKeY managed to get 2,439 base experience, and he sunk 7 enemy ships, so certainly well played by him. He just came back in time and managed to successfully defend the cap with the help of some ships from the friendly team. Now, CLyD managed to achieve Fireproof, Confederate, 2 times Close Quarters Expert, Dreadnought, Kraken, Devastating Strike, and High Caliber. He scored 180,000 points of damage. And yeah, I found it a very nice game to watch. I just love battleships brawling, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. I'll see you guys next time.